Only then did Qing Dian seem to recognize Lu Lair upon seeing the feather-form scale in her hand. Yet the hostility in his gaze toward Han Li deepened instead of easing. "This is a friend of mine. Let past matters rest and allow them to enter the city with me," Lu Lair said calmly as she put the token away. Qing Dian curled his lips into a sneer. "I've long heard that the Heavenly Fox tribe enjoys entangling itself with humans. It seems the rumors are true. This man clearly harbors ill intent toward our primordial land, yet you insist on shielding him. Could it be that your Heavenly Fox tribe plans to betray the primordial land?" A flicker passed through Lu Lair's eyes, but her voice remained steady. "Those accusations are groundless and absurd, fellow Taoist." She knew all too well how deeply the primordial tribes loathed humans. Qing Dian was deliberately exposing Han Li's identity to incite hostility. As expected, the expressions of the surrounding crowd shifted instantly. Some eyed Han Li with suspicion, others with naked animosity. Even Sangtu and Yun Bao looked conflicted. They had long harbored doubts about Han Li, yet never dared acknowledge them. He was far too powerful, and without him, they could never have entered Primordial Garrison City. Moreover, he had saved their lives not long ago, leaving them torn between fear, respect, and gratitude. "Your name is Qing Dian, correct?" Han Li said coldly. "If all you can offer are baseless accusations, you'd best keep silent. How can you claim I am human when true spirit blood flows in my veins?" "Bloodlines can be stolen," Qing Dian scoffed. "Humans often seize demon beast and true spirit bloodlines for cultivation, and you showed no reverence when the feather form scale appeared. Clearly you don't respect the true spirit king. That alone proves you're no primordial being." "Your reasoning isn't without merit," Han Li replied faintly. "But if I were truly a human spy, would I possess this?" With a flip of his hand, another feather form scale appeared. Gasps erupted from the crowd. "Another one? Is it real?" Could he also be a trusted subordinate of the true spirit king? Shock rippled through the onlookers, Lu Lair included, yet only a few offered respectful bows. Most still watched with doubt. Qing Dian froze briefly, then shouted, "A fake! There are only 7 true spirit king tokens in existence. How could 2 appear here together?" "You know whether it's genuine," Lu Lair shot back. "As you said, there are only 7. Who could forge one identical in both form and aura?" Qing Dian faltered, but stubbornly blocked the path. "I've shown the token. If you still bar my way, I'll pass through by force," Han Li said flatly. After a moment's hesitation, resolve hardened in Qing Dian's eyes. "I'd like to see you try." Han Li swept his gaze across the surroundings. That brief hesitation told him Qing Dian had likely received secret instructions. Whoever stood behind this must be utterly confident he was human, most likely a great encompassment expert. Caution stirred in Han Li's heart. Through voice transmission, he said to Lu Lair, "My identity may soon be exposed. Staying with me will be dangerous. Return to the Heavenly Fox tribe. I'll contact you once I escape this." To his surprise, she smiled. "Don't worry, Brother Rock. I'm no longer the helpless girl I once was." Han Li was startled, then reassured, remembering the Heavenly Fox tribe's backing. Jealous fury surged within Qing Dian at their exchange. With a roar, he charged. Each step sent dark red halos rippling outward, shaking the city wall. The crowd scattered, clearing a vast space. Qing Dian's eyes burned crimson. Ancient blood-red patterns crawled across his skin as his body doubled in size. His nose shrank, tusks jutted forth, and he transformed into a fearsome ape-like form steeped in primordial bloodlust. Han Li stepped forward, shielding Lu Lair, and with a gentle force sent her flying safely thousands of feet away. He thrust both hands out. Countless arcs of silver lightning converged into enormous lightning bird talons, slamming into Qing Dian's fists. Lightning exploded as Han Li unleashed his heavenly baleful purgatory arts, gripping Qing Dian's fists and trying to wrench him down. Qing Dian did not budge an inch. "You thought you could match me in strength?" He sneered, yanking his fists free. Surprise flickered in Han Li's eyes. His lightning bird form was no weakling, yet Qing Dian clearly held the upper hand. Before Han Li could reflect further, a massive fist hurtled toward his head. Silver lightning flashed. Han Li vanished and reappeared behind Qing Dian. An azure bamboo cloud swarm sword stabbed toward the back of his neck. Too slow to turn, Qing Dian roared. The skin on his neck turned translucent red. A thunderous boom erupted. Golden lightning burst outward, followed by a crimson halo that shot toward Han Li. Han Li invoked reversal true axis and barely evaded. The halo grazed past him, smashing into the city wall and sending violent tremors through it. Scorching pain flared in his shoulder. His robe was shredded, crimson spreading across his skin like molten lava, burning through his true extreme film and creeping toward his arm. Behind him, a gaping hole yawned in the wall, red lava streaming down. Frowning, Han Li summoned silver flames and carefully shaved the molten substance away. Even so, a strange power lingered in the wound, slowing his recovery. "Don't fight him head-on, Brother Rock!" "Let me help," Liu Layer cried. Han Li shook his head, signaling her to stay back. High atop the wall, a hunched elderly man observed with hands clasped behind his back. Such a body, and time law as well. This won't be easy for Dianer. His dark complexion contrasted with his pale face. His aura so restrained he seemed an ordinary mortal. At that moment, space near the wall subtly warped, faint red mist seeping out. Oh? If he's resorting to that, then this battle is already decided, the old man mused, a faint smile forming. With that thought settled, the elderly man clearly lost interest in the ongoing clash and turned to leave. Yet after taking only a few steps, he seemed to recall something and sent a voice transmission to Qing Dian. He could kill the human if he wished. But the heavenly fox girl was not to be harmed. Qing Dian promptly acknowledged this order, and the old man departed without another glance. With the tacit approval in hand, a cruel smile spread across Qing Dian's face. A cold glint flashing over his protruding tusks, he suddenly let out a thunderous roar, and a surge of red light burst from his mouth, rapidly condensing into an enormous crimson vortex. A terrifying suction force erupted from it, locking onto Han Li. Sensing danger long before, Han Li had already activated his reversal true axis to retreat. Yet the instant he moved, a numbing sensation shot through his shoulder, the very spot scorched earlier by lava. From that wound, an indescribable power surged forth, resonating eerily with the suction pouring from Qing Dian's mouth. No matter how Han Li tried to evade, that strange force clung to him relentlessly. As time dragged on, the pull only intensified until it became impossible to resist. In the end, Han was violently dragged into the crimson vortex and vanished within. "Brother Rock!" Liu Layer cried out, but it was far too late. She spun toward Qing Dian, fury blazing in her eyes, while he merely returned her gaze with a careless grin. Around them, the onlookers erupted into frantic discussion, and Sang-Tu and Yunbao stared at one another in horror. Han Li soon found himself within a bizarre space, his body suspended in midair amid a pervasive, nauseating stench. Ahead thundered a waterfall of lava, while below churned a boiling lake of molten rock. Steadying his breath, he surveyed his surroundings and discovered the space was not large, enclosed on all sides by dark red walls over which lava flowed endlessly. Activating his infernal devilish eyes, Han Li peered closer and discovered vein-like structures beneath the uneven walls, pulsing with immortal spiritual power. A strange expression crossed his face as realization dawned. Had he been swallowed whole? Was this the interior of Qing Dian's body? Before he could think further, the walls suddenly began to contract violently, closing in from every direction. The lava above grew chaotic, crashing down with immense heat and force. Han Li swept his sleeve, releasing 36 azure bamboo cloud swarm swords. Azure swordlight filled the confined space, slashing in all directions. Yet the walls remained unmoved, continuing their relentless compression. Moments later, the lava waterfall smashed down upon him, sending him plunging into the lake below. His body was instantly engulfed, agony searing through him. Han Li knew that if the space fully sealed, he would be trapped here. He might endure briefly, but prolonged exposure would spell disaster. With a decisive thought, he merged the 36 swords into one, driving it upward to force a path through the contracting walls. Gripping the profound heavenly gourd, Han Li burst out of the lava lake after the sword. Green light poured from the gourd, drawing in the falling lava and clearing his path. Freed from obstruction, he surged upward nearly 1,000 feet, finally breaking through the constricting walls into an open area directly before the lava waterfall. Shielded by the profound heavenly gourd, Han Li passed through the curtain of lava and emerged into an even wider space beyond. 2 white stone pillars stood ahead, radiating powerful restrictive force. Relief and joy surfaced on his face. He stowed his treasures and began carefully examining the pillars, deep in thought. Outside the city gate, Liu Lei'er confronted Qing Dian, demanding to know what he had done to her brother and why she could no longer sense his aura. Qing Dian laughed coarsely, boasting that Han Li had entered the space within his stomach and would soon be reduced to molten lava. He even mocked her, suggesting he take her brother's place instead. To his surprise, Liu Lei'er showed no panic at all. Instead, she seemed oddly relieved, sighing that it was unfortunate. Mistaking her meaning, Qing Dian was baffled by her expression. With sympathy in her eyes, she warned him that swallowing Brother Rock was something he would regret, though it was already too late. A sense of foreboding surged through Qing Dian just as a dull thump echoed from within his mouth. Black light burst forth, and his massive body lurched forward uncontrollably. Blood sprayed as one of his treasured tusks snapped in half, flying like a blade and embedding itself in the city wall. The black light surged outward, expanding rapidly before transforming into a devilish deity with 3 heads and 6 arms. As Han Li's true spirit bloodlines flared to their peak, many onlookers felt an overwhelming urge to kneel in reverence. "I knew you'd be fine," Liu Lei'er said warmly, though she was clearly startled by his transformed appearance. Han Li nodded to her, then turned his gaze toward Qing Dian, whose rage had nearly driven him mad. His tusks, refined over countless years and comparable to 6th-tier immortal treasures, were essential to sealing the space within his body. With one shattered, the cost to repair them would be immense. Roaring in fury, Qing Dian's body rapidly expanded, towering above the city wall. Dark red patterns on his flesh blazed with light, his pupils turned crimson, and pink mist streamed from his form. Han Li answered in kind, no longer suppressing his aura. His true spirit bloodlines and heavenly baleful purgatory arts surged forth, his stature swelling until he stood on equal footing with Qing Dian. Sensing the impending climax, all bystanders fled even farther away. Yet at that very moment, a figure vaulted over the city wall and descended from the sky, landing lightly upon Qing Dian's shoulder. In his rage, Qing Dian lashed out instinctively, but upon recognizing the figure, he froze and immediately reverted to his original form. The newcomer was a handsome young man in white robes, refined and elegant. Turning to Han Li, he greeted him with a smile, saying it had been a long time. Though Han Li did not recognize his face at first, the aura was unmistakable, and realization struck him at once. The man was Lekima. Shock rippled through the crowd. Everyone present, including Qing Dian and Liu Lei'er, hurriedly offered respectful salutes. Recalling the featherform scale, Han Li instantly understood Lekima's identity and reverted to his human form as well. By then, the fury had completely drained from Qing Dian's eyes, leaving him staring back and forth between Han Li and Lekima in utter confusion. Han Li smiled faintly as he looked at Lekima. "It seems you were far more significant than you ever let on, fellow Taoist Lekima. Back then, after we parted ways, I had no intention of ever stepping foot in the primordial land again, yet fate has a habit of circling back." Lekima laughed heartily. "That is precisely why I left the featherform scale with you. I knew that one day you would return to the primordial land, and it would prove useful. It appears your destiny has long been entwined with this place, whether you wished it or not, fellow Taoist Han." Han Li glanced toward Qing Dian, his tone calm but pointed. "As for that featherform scale, it seems its usefulness is limited. I merely displayed it earlier, only to be accused of being an imposter." Lekima's brows drew together slightly. Turning to Qing Dian, he smiled gently. "Surely this was nothing more than a misunderstanding, was it not, fellow Taoist Qing Dian?" Clutching the side of his face where his tusk had been shattered, Qing Dian hurriedly bowed. "Indeed, young master, it was all a misunderstanding." "Good," Lekima replied with an easy smile. "Now that it has been clarified, let us put it behind us. Go retrieve your tusk. Your patriarch should be able to restore it." "Yes, young master," Qing Dian answered reluctantly. He pulled the broken tusk from the city wall and departed in silence. Lekima then turned back to Han Li. "You would not have come all this way without reason. If there is anything I can assist you with, feel free to speak." After a brief hesitation, Han Li told him everything concerning Xiao Bai. As Lekima listened, excitement flickered in his eyes. If that young beast truly carries the bloodline of the ink-eyed Pixiu, then our primordial land will owe you an enormous debt for returning him. That is of no importance to me, Hanli said solemnly. Xiao Bai is my companion. I only wish for his survival. In that case, I will take you to Eight Plains Mountain at once to meet our true Spirit King. Lekima said decisively. Hanli paused, hesitation evident. Is something amiss? Lekima asked. An audience with the true Spirit King is no small matter, Hanli replied with a faint smile. I am still unsettled by today's events. Perhaps it would be better to meet him another day. Understanding flashed through Lekima's eyes. Very well. You may stay in my manor for now. When you are ready, I will accompany you. At that moment, Liu Lair spoke apologetically. Young master, I have already invited Brother Rock to stay with our Heavenly Fox tribe. Lekima burst into laughter. So you are acquainted with the little celestial maiden of the Heavenly Fox tribe as well. Fellow Taoist Han, you truly are quite the romantic. It's not like that, Hanli began. Lekima waved him off with a knowing look. No need to explain, I understand. Hanli could only sigh, while Liu Lair smiled in amusement. One more thing, Hanli said. The Silverhorn Rhinoceros tribe and the Cloud Spot Tiger tribe were the first to discover Xiao Bai and escorted him here. They deserve to be rewarded. Rest assured, I will personally handle it, Lekima promised. Hanli cupped his fists in gratitude, then instructed Sangtu and Yunbao to follow Lekima. Knowing their tribes were about to rise in status, the two chiefs were overwhelmed with gratitude and attempted to kowtow despite their injuries. As they parted, Hanli returned the feather form scale, but Lekima refused it. Keep it. I will announce that I personally bestowed it upon you. This will prevent such incidents from happening again. Hanli accepted and put the scale away. He then entered the city alongside Liu Lair, while the onlookers watched with envy. Along the way, Liu Lair asked softly, Why did you ask me to intervene earlier, Brother Rock? You clearly know young Master Lekima. Why not stay in his manor? We are acquaintances, but I do not truly know him, Hanli replied. His status is extraordinary, and I am wary of his intentions in gifting me that scale. I do not fully trust him. What he did not say was that he was also wary of the true Spirit King, wishing to learn more before deciding whether to meet him. How did you meet young Master Lekima? Liu Lair asked. That is a long story, Hanli said, then asked in return, Why does everyone call him young master? He is the son of true Spirit King Bai Zhe, Liu Lair explained. Though he was absent for a long time, he returned about a century ago. The true Spirit King values him greatly. Even our chief addresses him as young master. I see, Hanli nodded. Our chief kept your deeds hidden from me, but I found out on my own, Liu Lair said with a smile. I heard you traveled across many immortal regions, stirring up chaos everywhere. I was worried and a little envious. Envious? Hanli asked. Most of my days are spent fleeing those who wish to kill me. But you are free, Liu Lair replied softly. Life in the tribe is safe, but dull. Cultivating and listening to lectures day after day, I miss the time we traveled together. A stable life is better, Hanli said quietly, a trace of melancholy in his eyes. We cultivate to seek immortality, not constant danger. Liu Lair listened, nodding absently as they walked toward the Heavenly Fox tribe settlement. By then, night had fallen. That evening, Hanli followed her to a cluster of towering green buildings at the foot of Eight Plains Mountain. Spirit beast carvings adorned the structures, vastly different from the black stone city. At the highest point stood a massive nine-tailed fox statue. Hanli frowned as a mysterious pressure washed over him, suppressing his true spirit bloodlines. Liu Lair noticed at once. That is the statue of our Heavenly Fox Holy Patriarch. It contains a trace of his bloodline and suppresses other tribes. Simply restrain your own bloodline. Hanli circulated his heavenly baleful purgatory arts, suppressing all but the lightning bird bloodline. The discomfort quickly faded. The Heavenly Fox Holy Patriarch? Liu Qi? Hanli asked. Liu Lair looked startled. How do you know of Patriarch Liu Qi? Few even within our tribe know of him. I heard of him by chance. Hanli replied vaguely. She sighed. Liu Qi was not the Holy Patriarch. The Holy Patriarch was one of the 8 true Spirit Kings and vanished long ago. Patriarch Liu Qi was once our greatest prodigy. destined to inherit that bloodline, but he too disappeared. That is why our tribe has declined. Hanli remained outwardly calm, though his thoughts churned. Only now did he realize how little he truly understood about the Heavenly Fox tribe. Seeing his lack of reaction, Liu Lair changed the subject. Come meet our chief, Brother Rock. You've met him before. He is powerful and kind. Perhaps if you flatter him, he may even grant you a gift. The image of the white-robed man who had once saved him surfaced in Han Li's mind. Their past meeting had been far from pleasant, yet a life-saving favor could not be ignored. It was time to pay that visit. Liu Lair was delighted to see that Han Li did not object, and she promptly guided him toward the entrance of the clustered buildings. Young Mistress Lair! 4 guards clad in azure armor stood watch at the gate, and upon seeing Liu Lair, they bowed deeply in unison. Han Li felt a flicker of satisfaction at the sight. All 4 guards were at mid to late golden immortal cultivation, yet they treated Liu Lair with unmistakable reverence. From this alone, Han Li could tell her standing within the Heavenly Fox tribe was anything but ordinary. Liu Lair paid them no attention, instead hurrying inside with barely concealed excitement. Faint traces of the lively girl she once was in the spirit domain realm surfacing once more. Han Li was about to follow when the 4 guards crossed their weapons and blocked his way. Stay back! Han Li halted, brows knitting slightly. What do you think you're doing? Liu Lair snapped as she turned around, her expression instantly cold. The guard with the highest cultivation clasped his fist respectfully. Please forgive us, young Mistress Lear. This fellow Taoist is not of the Heavenly Fox tribe. If he wishes to enter, he must first obtain Elder Mu's permission. I'll explain things to Elder Mu myself. Stand aside, Liu Lair replied icily. The guard hesitated, yet still did not move. Please don't make things difficult for us, young mistress. How dare you? Liu Lair shouted. She grasped the air, and a burst of gray light surged forth, sweeping toward the guards' weapons and wrenching them aside. Han Li's eyes brightened slightly. Only now did he realize that Liu Lair had been concealing her cultivation with some kind of treasure. From that single display, he clearly sensed that she had already reached the high zenith stage. Though only early high zenith, it was a staggering leap from her former realm. The 4 guards gritted their teeth and tightened their grips, their combined secret technique allowing them to barely withstand her power. Even so, blood seeped from the corners of their mouths, showing the strain they endured. Liu Lair had yet to fully stabilize her realm, and just as she prepared to press further, an authoritative voice thundered out. Enough! A tremendous force surged between both sides, forcibly separating them. A gray-robed, white-haired elder appeared out of thin air. Han Li's heart tightened as he immediately circulated his lightning bird bloodline to conceal his human aura. Despite his plain appearance, the elder was unmistakably a great encompassment cultivator. Elder Mu! The guards hurriedly sheathed their weapons and bowed. Liu Lair also curtsied respectfully. With all major primordial tribes gathered at 8 Plains Mountain, why are you stirring trouble at the entrance of our settlement? Elder Mu scolded sternly. The guard leader hurriedly explained. Young Mistress Lair attempted to bring an outsider inside, violating our rules. We only acted to stop her. He's my brother, and he once saved my life. He's no outsider, Liu Lair argued at once. Elder Mu glanced at Han Li, a faint trace of disdain flashing through his eyes. That's enough. Lair, you may enter with your brother. Han Li frowned slightly at the look, yet remained silent as he followed inside. Soon, the 3 arrived at an opulent hall filled with tables and chairs, crafted from rare materials, clearly a guest hall. The blood inheritance ceremony is about to begin, and every moment is precious, Elder Mu barked. How could you leave without notice? The chief is already displeased. Return to the Heavenly Fox Palace at once. Liu Lair lowered her head. I know I was wrong, but I ask for a single day to accompany my brother. I'll make up for it with double effort tomorrow. Unacceptable, Elder Mu snapped. The fate of our tribe hinges on this ceremony. Go now. I will see to your brother. Liu Lair hesitated, brows drawn. It's fine, Lair, Han Li said gently. You have matters to attend to. Then stay here and don't wander off. Once the ceremony ends, I'll have time, she said, asking Elder Mu to look after Han Li before leaving. Han Li maintained his lightning bird disguise and cupped his fist, but Elder Mu sneered coldly. I know who you are, fellow Taoist Han. Spare me these petty disguises. Others may be fooled, but not the Heavenly Fox tribe. Han Li raised an eyebrow, then smiled faintly as he let the disguise fall away. Then I won't bother pretending. Internally, he sighed. He had hoped his connection with Lu Lair and Fox 3 would ease matters, but it was clear he was unwelcome. For what reason have you come here? Elder Mu demanded coldly. I mean no harm to any primordial tribe, Han Li replied calmly. I merely encountered Lear by chance. Since I'm not welcome, I'll take my leave. He stood and turned to go, but Elder Mu instantly blocked his path, a gray barrier sealing the exit. You think you can come and go freely? State your purpose. Are you trying to detain me by force? Han Li asked, his gaze chilling. A miniature lightning array quietly formed in his sleeve. Along the journey, he had refined the Aeon Divine Lamp and studied the almighty Sword Array. Whenever fatigue set in, he pored over the 5 Lightning True mantra, gaining immense insight. Within it, he discovered a lightning teleportation art far superior to his own, and by integrating its profundities, he greatly shortened activation time and extended teleportation range. The lightning restraining wood array, in particular, could now activate almost instantly. Though the original array had been destroyed by Chimozi, he had refined a new one and set it in a hidden location en route. This was the source of his confidence in coming here. Moreover, he had infused time law power into the heaven-controlling vial. Even if teleportation failed, he could still escape via time-space transmigration, costly as it might be. You intend to exploit Lear's attachment to you for our tribe's benefit, Elder Mu sneered. Surrender now and spare yourself suffering. As Elder Mu prepared to strike and Han Li readied his array, a commanding voice echoed through the hall. Stand down, Elder Mu! A figure appeared. It was the white-robed man Han Li had once seen in the primordial land. Chief Lu. Elder Mu froze and bowed deeply. Han Li's pupils shrank. Now at the peak of high zenith, he could clearly sense the man's terrifying power, far beyond Qi Meng or immortal Lord Miao Fa, only slightly below the dark heaven's devilish deity. With that realization, Han Li quietly circulated his time law power, while the heaven-controlling vial stirred, its eyes opening, ready to carry him away at a moment's notice. Elder Mu, you've gone too far, the white-robed man said calmly. How can you treat Lear's brother with such discourtesy? If the other primordial tribes hear of this, our heavenly fox tribe will be mocked as ingrates. You may withdraw. I will speak with fellow Taoist Han myself. But Chief Lu, given Lear's current condition, this human appearing now surely harbors ill intent. Elder Chu protested anxiously. You may go, the white-robed man repeated, his tone firm. Elder Chu could only glare angrily at Han Li before turning away. After Elder Chu left, the white-robed man smiled faintly. Your cultivation has advanced swiftly, Han Li. Quite admirable. You flatter me, Chief Liu Qing, Han Li replied, cupping his fists. Oh, you know my name? Liu Qing asked, surprised. I heard it mentioned before, Han Li answered vaguely, offering no explanation of his past in the Grey Realm. Several of Elder Chu's descendants fell at the hands of human cultivators, so his resentment runs deep, Liu Qing said. Moreover, Lear is cultivating a secret art crucial to the upcoming blood inheritance ceremony. At such a sensitive moment, he is wary of anything involving her. Please forgive his offense. It matters little, Han Li said calmly. Still, Elder Mu's words were not entirely wrong, Liu Qing continued. Lear is no longer who she once was. She carries the supreme bloodline of the Heavenly Fox tribe and will rise even higher after the ceremony. You may have been her brother, but that belongs to the distant past. You are human, and she is destined to walk another path. You understand, do you not? Han Li's expression did not change, yet fury churned within. To Liu Qing and Elder Chu, he was nothing more than a schemer seeking advantage through Lu Lair, and never before had he been so openly demeaned. Mistaking his silence for reflection, Liu Qing went on. Your own circumstances are precarious. After your clash with the Qing ape tribe, your human identity was close to exposure. Turning to Lear for shelter is understandable. However, she must devote herself fully to cultivation. I cannot allow distractions. You may remain here until the blood inheritance ceremony begins, and I will ensure your safety. Afterward, you must leave Eight Plains Mountain at once. If you have requests, speak them now, but only if you swear never to trouble Lair again. Hanli could endure no more. Your concern is unnecessary, Chief Liu. I may be human, but I have never begged for protection. I came only to see Lair again, for old time's sake. As for whether we meet in the future, let fate decide. I take my leave. With that, he turned and strode away. Liu Qing's brows knit, a flash of anger crossing his eyes. His sleeves stirred as if he were about to act, but he suddenly halted, gaze shifting outward. Though storming off, Hanli remained alert. Sensing the change, he also stopped and looked ahead. Two figures entered the hall. One was Lekima, the other, True Spirit King Bai Zhe. "Your Majesty!" Liu Qing exclaimed, hurrying forward in deep respect. Hanli's face paled. Though he had never met Bai Zhe, only one being in the primordial land would be addressed so. He had intended to learn more of the True Spirit King before deciding whether to meet him. Yet fate had brought Bai Zhe to him first. Bai Zhe radiated no aura, yet an indescribable dread welled up in Hanli's heart, a sensation he had felt only before a handful of supreme existences such as Yin Cheng Quan, awakened Taoist Xie, and the devilish monarch. "Spare the formalities, Chief Liu," Bai Zhe said mildly. "I'm here privately. Let no word of my visit spread." "Of course, Your Majesty. Whatever you require, I'll arrange at once," Liu Qing replied. "There's no need. I came to see fellow Taoist Han," Bai Zhe said, turning with a faint smile. Liu Qing froze in shock. Hanli glanced at Lekima, then cupped his fists. "Hanli greets Senior Bai Zhe." "I informed Father about Xiaobai," Lekima said lightly. "He asked me to bring him to you at once. I trust that's acceptable." "An honor, Senior Bai Zhe," Hanli replied, maintaining composure despite his unease. "No need for such formality," Bai Zhe said. "You saved my son's life. Our primordial tribes owe you a debt. I've also heard you possess several true spirit bloodlines. Clearly, your ties with our tribes run deep." Hanli hesitated, then said, "Those bloodlines were mostly obtained in lower realms. I've never harmed the primordial tribes during my time here." "It matters not," Bai Zhe replied gently. "I know your history. The Heavenly Court is our greatest foe, and the enemy of our enemy is our friend. Moreover, delivering Xiaobai to Eight Plains Mountain was a great kindness. Rest assured, we harbor no ill will." Hanli finally relaxed somewhat, while Liu Qing inwardly regretted his earlier treatment. Liu Qing invited Bai Zhe and Lekima into the hall, yet Hanli remained outside. "Fellow Taoist Han, why linger? Come, sit," Lekima urged. "A mere human like me wouldn't dare seat himself freely here." Hanli replied coolly. "I should already count myself fortunate not to be expelled." Lekima frowned and turned to Liu Qing. Bai Zhe did the same. "A minor misunderstanding," Liu Qing said awkwardly, then hurried to Hanli's side and bowed in apology. Hanli returned the salute without warmth. Harboring resentment would gain him nothing. "I have matters to discuss with fellow Taoist Han," Bai Zhe said. "You may go, Chief Liu." Liu Qing obeyed without complaint, departing at once. Under Bai Zhe's leadership, the primordial tribes had withstood the Heavenly Court's relentless incursions. His authority was absolute. After leaving, Liu Qing went straight to another hall, where Elder Chu awaited. "Chief Liu, have you dealt with that bastard?" Elder Chu demanded. "A human daring to extort our tribe. How did you punish him?" Liu Qing snorted coldly, glaring at him. Earlier, upon learning that Hanli had arrived with only minor tribes, Liu Qing had assumed the man lacked backing. Elder Chu's information, it seemed, was disastrously wrong. "What troubles you, Chief Liu?" Elder Chu asked uneasily. Liu Qing waved his sleeve, erecting layers of restrictions. "You said Hanli came with the Silverhorn Rhinoceros tribe and the Cloudspot Tiger tribe, with no special connections. Is that correct?" "Yes, he knows young Master Lekima, but how could a human have real standing here?" Elder Chu replied. "Then why didn't you mention Lekima?" Liu Qing demanded sharply. Realization struck Elder Chu. "I thought little of it. Young Master Lekima befriends people at random. His Majesty has scolded him for it before. I assumed Hanli was just another trivial acquaintance." "You fool!" Liu Qing roared, then sank into a chair, closing his eyes to steady himself. Elder Chu trembled and dared not speak, lowering his head in silence.